Rolling.
Rolling, how wonderful. Yoo-hoo, it's happy hour. Oh, my darlings, hello, 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 my angels. How wonderful. It's your Auntie Glam, darlings. It's May 7th. It is our 56th day in captivity. It's 8 weeks, darlings. Now, I have to do this one thing if I possibly can. I don't know if it's... Did you send it now? Okay, my darling. We'll just see what happens. There we go. I'm trying. It won't work, darling. Wait. Oh, God damn it. Oh, look what I've done. Oh, Jesus, I'm already swearing. Oh, for heaven's sake. Darling, well, this is just show business for you, darlings. Well, it's gone, darling. I can't find it. It's further down? Mm-hmm. Oh, dear. This is how we do it, darling. I like to do it because I see so many wonderful people doing the same thing. Now that should work. Oh, cancel.
Pin? Oh.
Did it pin?
No, you have to press
Oh,
pin.
darling, that's what happens. I see. Okay. Now it says, where's it say pin?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pin comment. Now there's my hand, darling, the back of my hand. And look, woo! There's David Sytkowski. And here we are, our angels. Week 8 in captivity. Our very 8th happy hour with your Auntie Glam. And we're still alive, my darlings, miraculously. Last week, I had a terrible bruise. It's nearly gone away a week later from having my antibodies test. And you would think your Auntie Glam would have an antibody. But alas, no. I have not been exposed to Miss Rona. Just, psychic damage. Merely psychic damage thus far. Knock wood, my angels. But here we are, yet another week. We're here for the duration, darlings, to be with you. And today, madam, we have made a cocktail. Well, on Tuesday I was microdosing, darling, and I did my tutorial, and I made a fancy free. Well, I finished my fancy free, and then I had my second fancy free, and 4 hours, well, I didn't finish my second fancy free. I only had a little bit of it, but 4 hours later I woke up and most of it was still there, so I decided to go a little easier and put a fancy free on the rocks. Fancy free on ice, darlings, and it is delicious. It's a wonderful beverage for a summer day that we're imagining we'll have one of these days. So we're doing a show for you today, darlings. It's a sort of what would you call it? An elemental show. We've decided to do a kind of a tribute to nature. We're doing things about the sunshine and the water and the air and the earth. Last week we had our Beltane show, and this time it's spring, it's May, it's your Auntie Glam's birthday on Saturday, darling, so I decided I was going to sing songs I wanted to sing. And so we're doing songs about Mother Nature's bounties, darlings, all of the wonderful things that the glory of, well, all we have is Mother Nature, darling. We can't go to the theater. We can't go out to see live music. We are here live for you today, darlings. But then we can go out. The summer looks like it's going to be a lot of sitting in yards, darling, in circles, far apart from each other, or out in the parks, or out by the river, or someplace where we can't get too close, but we can do something, darling. So we're celebrating nature today. Oh, I scared myself, angels. Celebrating nature today, my darlings. And so this is a song that was requested many moons ago from my dear friend Ellen. And so I'm going to do this song for you. It's a sort of a mellow song, but I'm in a mellow mood, my darlings. And it's a beautiful song, Sunshine on One's Shoulders, darling.
Are we doing Equipoise first?
Oh, we're not doing that song yet, darling. We're going to do a song I wrote. I should have just gone to the song I was doing. But darlings, I stopped trying to make sense last Friday. I hadn't been making sense, my darlings, but up until that point I had been trying. But I'm not even trying to make sense anymore. If my microdose on Tuesday showed me one thing, that making sense is overrated, my darlings. Stop making sense. In the words of the old band from the 80s, the Talking Heads, which is what we are from henceforth, my darlings. Talking Heads, our bodies, nary a body shall meet, but the heads will glock, glock, glock right on here. I've seen more than one head. We have heads, we can't give it at the moment, darling, but this too shall pass. We still have our mouths, we still have the will, and people still have the parts. So let's hope that someday, if we choose to sin again, we can. In the meantime, here we are, and we're going to do a song I wrote, and it was on my very first album, Equipoise is what it's called, and that album was called Dendrophile, of course, which is what your Auntie Glam is. Today I went out into the yard and I hugged a tree. Did I not, Nathan? I went out and hugged the tree out there because I hadn't received a hug in a while, and my darling, the gratification of that rough bark up against my front parts was absolutely, unbelievably satisfying. So I encourage you all to go out and hug a tree if you can, but not until we're finished here, my darlings. So this song is a song I wrote. Ha ha! I repeat myself. You know I've been watching too much of that Rachel Maddow. I'm just going round and round and round in circles, and you know, get to the point! Get to the point! Well, darlings, I'm going to get to the point. The song is Equipoise, and here we go. Woo! To begin the search for beauty, I knelt down upon the ground, and I searched within the confines of a bark with my wings bound, sang a song of love for Jesus, kissed the cheeks of all the ladies there, took my high heels from the closet and commenced to roll my hair. Left my mother in the afternoon, and I wandered all around the town. When they finally came to get me, fell asleep without a sound. A bird that has no feet to land can only just aspire to breathe more strength into its wings and keep on climbing higher. We expect to pay for freedom, that our punishment awaits. So I opened up my eyes again, but my father came too late. So I tried to find forgiveness for letting everybody down, for not being what they'd hoped I'd be, took myself into the crowd. And I tried to make the people smile, and I tried to ease the pain of life, and I tried to take the easy way, tried to be the perfect wife. But I'll never have a husband, and I'll never have a child. Looking back on all I've given up, well, my rage can grow so wild. 'Cause elephants don't want to paint self-portrait. An animal can only sing its song. Looking back on all my great achievements, the morning dew lies gently on the dawn. Take the path of least resistance, pull the trigger and the revolution's done. Sing a song of promise and forgiveness, time for bird that has no feet to land can only just aspire to breathe more strength into its wings and keep on climbing high. A bird that has no feet to land can only just aspire to breathe more strength into its wings and keep on climbing high. Oh, darling, a bird with a broken wing. Darling, that was originally called the Hummingbird Song, because I do love a hummingbird, but have you had any hummingbirds at your place? We don't really have hummingbirds up here in the upstate New Yorkers, but we've been noticing a lot of birds. Today I saw a goldfinch out of Nathan's window, and I saw a red-winged blackbird as I was flying. I wasn't flying, darling, I was driving, but I'm not known for driving slowly. I love driving fast on a country road. I feel like if you go over a little hill and your tummy doesn't give a little jump, you're doing something wrong. I mean, if we can't all be out at the amusement parks, we can certainly drive recklessly to give everyone a cheap thrill. That's my philosophy. If everybody doesn't go, whoa, when we go around the corner, well then, we aren't going around the corner fast enough, darling. A curve, a road, a bump, a stump, anything. Boom, boom. I just think it's thrilling. So I saw a goldfinch, a red-winged blackbird, a blue jay, a bluebird, all sorts of birds, Mother Nature's bounty, darling. And I was going to put a bird feeder or a bird bath out in the yard, but there's a lot of stray kitties around here, and I thought, well, my glorious Lord, that would be like leading the lambs to the slaughter, only they're birds, and they'd be leading the birds to the stray cats, darlings, but it would have the same effect. They would not be happy birds, and I would have to sit here in my glassed-in porch, watching the slaughter, watching the horrors of nature, darlings, when we're here to celebrate her. So keep the cats away from the birds. I love the kitties, Lord knows, but I don't like to see them killing the birds. How about you, Nathan? How about you? David Sytkowski, ladies and gentlemen, on the piano, and Nathan Carrera on the guitar. Now, as I started to say earlier, I'm just so relaxed, darling. I'm just lounging here and showing my live. Do you know I got these shoes? They are very effective for being so cheap, my darlings. But you know, I prefer to be cheap and effective than expensive and clueless, as so many other people are these days, darling. To being cheap and effective, that's the mot du jour. During the quarantinal lockdown, let's all just be as cheap and effective as we can, darling, and we've got to try to be effective from our, safe distances, because there's a lot going on in the world, and we look out and we see, and we have to do what we can with our voices, with our money, and with our poison pens, if you will. Who to write to, what to say, who to call, because, darlings, they're running amok out there. But let's forget about that right now. Let's think about wonderful things, like getting high, darlings. Let's talk about, now I want to say thank you to all of the wonderful people who have been texting me and messaging me and DMing me from the rooms, from the Alcoholics Anonymous, all of the people that are the 12-steppers. I did go. Someone said, oh, I'd like to see you back in this room, because I guess it was about 10 years ago or so. I went to Alcoholics Anonymous for 2 months, darling, because I went to a party and I was so hungover and I didn't remember what happened. And so I went to an AA meeting, and I was there for about 2 months. I would go, and I didn't drink for 2 months, and at the end of the 2 months, darling, I had an epiphany. It was an epiphany. It was a realization, darling, that I am not an alcoholic. I am simply middle-aged, darling. Well, and I'm on the very outside end of middle-aged, my darling, but 10 years ago I was smack dab in the middle, and that's when I realized I can no longer drink like a 25-year-old with 25-year-olds. If I'm going to be drinking with 25-year-olds, I can only have about half of what they have if I want to be effective after they're drunk, darling. Not to say I'm a predator, darling, but I do enjoy the hunt. But of course, I love a rare bird, and well, darling, when I met Nathan, how old were you, my love?
24.
24, and I was 44, darling, and you know, neither of us made the first move for many dates because, well, as it turns out, we're sort of, you know, I don't know what the word is, darling, but careful in our own way, darling. And then we were together for 8 years, darling, till Nathan was middle-aged. No, you were in your 30s, weren't you, darling?
We'll
But of
find
course,
out.
in the gay world, once you're in your 30s, you know, darling, you're in your prime, and boop, 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 it's all downhill from there. But fortunately, I stopped being gay and became a sort of, you know, slut, darling. A slut who sleeps with straight men whenever necessary, darling, because I don't want to get to know them. The problem is I like the gays, darling. They're charming, they're wonderful. They aren't interested in your Auntie Glam. But the straight men are, but of course I don't want to talk to them. They're not usually, they're not known for their scintillating conversation and wit, darling. And if they surprise me with that, well, of course, they're welcome, you know. Anyway, I'm giving you all the secrets of the House of Whimsy. Not that any secrets have been, you know, percolating in here recently. But, anyways, my darling, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm a middle-aged hoochie coochie person, really. I just like a cheap thrill, darling. Cheap and effective, my loves. So this is a song. I better start singing. It's a song about getting high, darling, but not high on marijuana or microdosing or drugs or anything. It's about getting high on the beauty of nature. And speaking of the beauty of nature, I'm wearing this dress that is made out of blue butterflies and pansies, darlings, made by a wonderful designer named Mark Happel, who I've been working with for years. So this is my pansy frock that I'm wearing to celebrate getting yet another year older, darlings, in quarantine, alone, just aging silently and desperately, alone in the House of Whimsy, and hugging trees for satisfaction, and of course, petting my pussy whenever it's necessary. So, darlings, this is a song about getting high. There I go, Rachel Maddowing the introduction again. It's a song about getting high, darlings. I love you, Rachel Maddow. I know that none of the news you have to tell us is good, but we still love you, and go around in as many circles as you want. Because I was thinking for my birthday, since I'm going to be here, well, David will be here, and perhaps you'll come by. But I was thinking my big thrill at the end of the day on my birthday is I'm going to have maybe 3 drinks instead of my usual 2, and I'm just going to run around in circles until I pass out on the floor, darling. And that'll be my thrill for my birthday. Running in circles, passing out and waking up knowing I had done something. So, this is a song about getting high. 3, 4. The introduction just repeats and repeats until I start singing, which I'm going to do one of these moments, darling. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Oh, sunshine, sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. If I had a day that I could give you, I'd give to you a day just like today. If I Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. If I had a tale that I could tell you, I'd tell a tale sure to make you smile. If I had a song that I could sing for you, I'd sing a song that always makes you smile. Sunshine on my shoulder makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. Sunshine almost always makes me high. Sunshine almost almost always makes me high, my darlings. Of course, this morning when I woke up at 6:15 a.m. and the sun was bleating into the window, my darlings, it did not make me high. It infuriated me, my darlings, because I've been have they come up with a word for this dictatorial nonsense that our dreamscapes are imposing on us during the Miss Rona crisis? I had the most sleepless nights, my darlings. Of course, it makes the days much more interesting because, you know, can you imagine going through every day calm and collected and cool and feeling like, oh, I'm handling this perfectly well, my angels. No, it's much better to have some sort of fractured psyche that makes you half the time you're rather sort of manic, darlings, running around the house, taking care of things, arranging. Oh, it's dust. When did I last dust, my darling? How could it be so dusty? And there you are, dust bursting again, or perhaps you sort of reach down and realize that you've gouged your calf, darling, with your talon-like toenails that you thought you had just trimmed yesterday, darling, and there they are, eating their way through you like as if Ebola had returned, and you're eating yourself alive with your own claw-like toenails, my darlings, and you think, I thought I was on top of things, my darling, and then of course you start to beat yourself up about your bloody, I was going to say thighs, but I'll be perfectly honest, it would be very difficult for me to get my toenails gouged into my thighs at this point, darling. Of course, I could do it, obviously, but I think I would have to try. It wouldn't be a subconscious, a mistaken thing where you're just sort of like, oh, have I stepped on a nail, or have I, are the cats at me again, my darlings? Because then you don't want to, which is a wonderful, side effect of having cats, because if you're asleep and you feel your toenail gouging into your calf, my darling, and you're at least cognizant of the fact that you have cats, then you're not going to just kick out at the animal if you love it, which could keep you from taking a couple of inches of skin off your foot, because you haven't realized that it's actually you yourself that's gouging your thigh as you sleep, and wish that perhaps you had some sort of medicinal recourse, darlings, to one wonders sometimes if we couldn't have a kind of like a self-induced coma, but to get us through until Miss Rona leaves, my darling, to just sort of pass it sleeping in your beautiful home, unaware that the sun is scorching your eyeballs and waking you up and your toenails are dug into your own flesh, my darlings. But then of course you wake up and you think, well, I've survived another night, and you think, well, I'm going to be in a terrible mood today, and the next thing you know, you're tripping around the house and something wonderful happens. And so, my darlings, here we are. It's something wonderful on a Thursday afternoon, a fancy-free cocktail, madam. And, darlings, it has been rather, grim in the world. I've been trying very hard I do watch Rachel Maddow, but I always do it out of habit. And as soon as I start in, I think, oh, good Lord, why did I start in on this, And of course, and it's always before bed, which is probably why I'm gouging my skin with my toenails. It's Rachel Maddow, my darling. But it's not Rachel Maddow, it's Rachel Maddow reporting the news. And I keep thinking I should be watching the high and happy news, the news on the other tables or on the other channels, where everything's wonderful. We're having an economic, wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous time, darlings. You just have to get your news from the right place, I guess. But of course, if I was doing that, then I'd probably be out tripping the light fandango on an electric motorboat, having an orgy somewhere with Christians. That seems to be what they're doing. But of course, maybe I'm getting the wrong story from the wrong news. But here's the thing, my darlings. I have begun to petition the Lord with prayer, because what else am I going to do? I can't talk to anyone. So sometimes I talk to God, and I thought, well, maybe I should just, have a moment here during happy hour where I petition the Lord with prayer. So I'm going to say a prayer, my darling, because I don't know what else to do to pray to the Lord, So I'm going to just pray, my darlings, because I figure maybe group mentality, it's sort of like, casting a spell, drawing a circle. The Christians, well, they cast the spell every week, and all of the other people do. When you get together and you put your minds on something, darling, you can create change. And so perhaps if we all pray together today, we can create some change, my darling. Maybe if we all pray hard enough, this bit of hair that's torturing your Auntie Glam right here will go, right up into the clouds from whence it came, my darlings. So anyway, dear Lord, darling, well, dear Lord, I apologize for calling you Lord, darling. I mean, darling Lord, darling Lord, darling. I apologize, my dear Heavenly Father. Well, I just wanted to say hello. I know when we do speak quite regularly, which might surprise people, but I'm speaking to you, God. The God, I'm not speaking to Krishna or Buddha or Muhammad, although I believe in all of them, my darling, and there are people all around the world that, various religions, the Muslims, all of those things. But today I'm speaking to you, God, because here we are in the United States, and it seems like so many of your followers are here, and so perhaps it would be best to just address the local. Think locally, darling, instead of globally at the moment. Of course, the world's a mess, my lord. It's a disaster, and it's all around the world. This corona, this plague we've been struck with, my angel, my lord, my angel. Well, you are an angel, aren't you, dear? So I've been thinking, well, darling, of course, we are so thankful for all of the people that are taking care of people, that are actually doing what they're supposed to do. As your son Jesus said, take care of each other, heal the sick, take care of all that, which I think is wonderful. Those people that are following in those footsteps, that example, are absolute heroes, darling, people that are caring for others. But I would like to address, Lord, a problem that has come to my attention. And look at me, Lord. No one is whiter than your Auntie Glam. Look at this skin. Look at this crepey neck, my darling. I'm a white as white can be, my darling. But Lord, these white people have lost their minds, my darling. The white people are going crazy, darling, and I do know that, you're a god to everyone, but there are a lot of people in a lot of different races who have different gods. But in this country, my lord, the white people, darling, you've got to do something about these crazy white people running around. They're running around with guns. They're running around with guns in your name, darling. They're passing laws. What's that, Mitch McConnell, that fellow in Washington? We had an African-American president, and he wouldn't allow him to, put any judges in for the whole time. He blocked all the judges. Now we've got this white trash president, darling, and they're just putting the judges everywhere, darling, and it's not fair. We need a black get to put in judges, Lord. And so now all of these white people are going crazy, my lord. They're shooting people. They're going out saying that they're with guns, Lord. They're using guns. Well, the point is, my lord, they're killing innocent people. The justice in the world is just absolutely off kilter in this country. We've got a plague to deal with. They're out, threatening people with their actual viruses. And this is the thing, my lord. We need a cure for the virus of corona, which would be wonderful. But one virus that's just been around so much longer that perhaps you could help us with, because these are your people and you're in charge. I say, Lord, if I was you, I'd be embarrassed by these horrible, wretched white people that claim to be your followers. So perhaps you could come up with a sort of a miraculous cure for the virus of racism, my lord, because the racism, the horrors of what people are putting through, specifically the wretched white people who are running around as if they own the place while the rest of the decent people stay inside to care for one another, to protect themselves, and more importantly, to protect other people from getting the virus, staying in, being calm, trying to take care of each other, having sleepless nights, gouging their legs out with their own toenails, my lord. And yet the rest of these insane white people are out running around, shooting guns off, berserk, and they're supposedly your followers. So, Lord, I'm putting it in your hands. Take care of these people. Do your job, Lord. We're all trying to do ours. Get to work. Wake these people up. Lord, Lord, Lord. Well, I want to just thank you for listening. Golden rule, Jesus-y, doxology, all of that, my Lord. Heaven forfend, bless us, take care of us, say hello to your son, Jesus, and take care of everything, Lord. It's in your hands, and that's all I can say. So, hallelujah, Jesus-y, doxology, amen. I hope I wasn't praying for too long, my darlings. But anyway, cheers to God and to everything, taking care of things, and let these white people calm down. The white people are losing their minds, my darling, and they're making the rest of us crazy. So now, darlings, we're going to pivot. We're going to pivot to music and happiness. We are doing a preview for our show next week, my darlings. Next week, for week 9, week 60 something in House rest, we are going to do a show for the singles. It's a singles theme show called When Harry Met Stevie, darlings, where we're going to do a song about the wonderful intergenerational musical amour, love of Harry Styles and Stevie Nicks. So that's what we'll be doing next week, my darlings. But in the meantime, we're going to do this beautiful song by the goddess Stevie Nicks. And the planets of the universe go their way, not astounded by the sun or the moon or by the day. You and I will simply disappear out of time, but I'm afraid soon there'll be no light. I have never loved the way I loved you. You will never rule again the way you've ruled. We will never change again the way we are changing. You'll forget the chill of love, but not the strain. You'll forget the chill of love, but not the strain. I will remember that I will die slowly. It's only an overture for what you do best. And don't condescend to me. Take your leave, disappear through the air. I wish you. Well, did I do that wrong, darling? Take your leave. Take your leave. Take your leave from me. Disappear through the air. I wish you gone, but I don't care. Now I know that I was wrong to live for dreams. If I had my life to live over, I would never dream. No, I still wish you gone, and I will live alone, and I and the planets of the universe go their way, not astounded by the sun or the moon or by the day. You and I will simply disappear out of sight, but I'm afraid soon there'll be no light. Now I know that I was wrong if I had my life to live over, I would never dream. No, I still wish you gone, and I will live alone, and Darling, the planets of the universe go their way. Now, last night was a full moon, so it should be rather full still tonight, my darlings. And so I wanted to do this song because it is my birthday this weekend, and I'm singing what I want to sing, darlings, because that's really something you can do. You can do what you want, my darlings. And, so this is a song that was written by Sandy Denny, and it's a beautiful song, and it's in honor of the full moon. I was born on a full moon, my darlings, in 1963. I'm 57, darling. Which is a strange number. I had never really sort of, what do I want my life to be like when I'm 57? Well, darlings, this was not exactly, the funny thing about it is I had sort of hoped to take April off because I'd been working so hard, and I didn't expect it to be because of a new plague, having lived through one in my 20s, to be living through another plague in my 50s. But here we are, my darlings, and so in one sense I am doing what I want. I'm here in my home with my lovely friends singing for you, which is my favorite thing to do, to be perfectly honest. I love performing, so I'm lucky that I get to do that instead of just, torturing the cats with the little song and dance every morning. I get to sort of torture you, but it's voluntary. Unlike the cats, you can escape. The darlings, this song is a full moon. Oh yes, I was born on the full moon in Scorpio, and so I'm a Taurian woman, was born in a full moon in Scorpio, lots of secrets, and Mercury was retrograde, so it's my time, darling, to do whatever the hell I want, and what I want to do, more than anything, is to sing this song for you, Full Moon. Everybody else is gone, but you're still here with me. All the world is sleeping by and by. Through the window pane, the frosted light is streaming in. Full moon sailing high across the sky. Tonight is like the night when we first met. I always knew I never would forget you. Come and hold me close, I missed you more than I can say. I can't imagine how I passed the time, wondering if you'll ever know how much you mean to me. Never dreamed you'd ever change your mind. Lover, this is is where I want to stay. Maybe it could always be this way. I recall you said to me a long, long time ago, don't you lose direction in the crowd. I think you could, but when I did, you found me and I didn't even know. I hardly knew that you were around and understood. I was reaching out each moment to be free. You were all the things I'd never be. Oh, gentle music, rock away the sadnesses in me. Rock away my lonely yesterdays, like pennies on the ocean, till no trace of them I see, till moonlight shows no ripples on the waves. Our lives will be so different from now on. Each and every good time will grow longer. Full moon, full Wish upon a star, my darlings, full moon, so that we can be together soon. But in the meantime, stay in, drink gin, and love one another. Nobody loves you more than your Auntie Glam. Remember that, my darlings. We'll see you next week, YouTubers, for When Harry Met Stevie, a singles celebration. Ta-ta to, how do we even turn this off? I forget, my darlings. Ta-ta darlings, to...
Top right.
Top right. Yes, there we go, my darlings. I get distracted.